Hello, hello everyone. I want to bring to your attention here another subject globally that is not necessarily always discussed in the NFV SDN world, is really looking at having security as an application, as a VNF and service you want to deliver. And this is what we do with many of our customers already, of service providers. We're coming from delivering security technology globally, and technology to our end customers and to the enterprise. We do see, and we are already part of commercial deployments with service providers who wants to deliver the security not as a technology, but as a service to their end customers. And your customers, especially the SMBs, are eager to that. There is a great demand on the market, but the market is, the ecosystem is pretty slow delivering properly all those things. So we want to help. We want to help the ecosystem and the overall community to be able to deliver security as a service to their end customers. High value services, very tailored, very close to your customers, very good monetization. You don't have to worry about monetizing this. This is embedded. Globally, when you start to look at what NFV SDN brings globally to delivering security, there are a few good things already. The agility and the possibility to tailor a bit the solutions, because most of the time security solutions are tailored to the different workloads, the different apps, the different location where you do those securities. And this is great for that. Plus, in security, we have some framework model. There is the NIST model. And one of the modeling in security is the ability to recover. Because there is only one perfect security, is void, is you do nothing. As soon as you connect, as soon as you do stuff, there is threat. And they may enter your house. Take physical example that you know. You have your house. You don't have a big safe. You don't have a Fort Knox. You have a normal door, and you know that people can break in. But you have an insurance, and you have a way to recover if someone breaks in or if things get destroyed. So the VNF provides a great way for that, because you can rebuild the service if it has been destroyed, or you can come back from a safe backup of the data and stuff like this. Much easier than with physical hardware. So there is this capability allows to take more risk and to do more stuff. But it comes with cost. Today, it's quite complex to manage still. We see all that we need yet a new initiative for zero touch and all that. It's a sign. It's a sign that the global full automation is taking a lot of time to get there. It's mainly developer-driven. And actually, us security professionals, we love developers. They do a lot of what we have to protect. So it's pretty rare to have good developers trained on security and good at that. And usually very easily create breach and create other things. And one big problem here globally is people working on the architecture, on the drawing, etc., just assume that things are isolated. People simply assume that you put a VM on an hypervisor and it's fully isolated from their neighbors. The neighbors cannot tamper it, cannot access your RAM, cannot evade your data. I have a bad news for you. It's wrong. Most of the time, what we see being deployed is not secure. If you enable DPDK, for example, that a lot of you guys want to play with, you disable SELinux. No more isolation. You put a firewall, the full machine fall into the same security zone as the firewall. CPEs, an x86 box, sitting in someone else's basement with people having physical access. Just give that phrase to any hacker, you get a smile. It's a playground for them. Good news, there is, and there is plenty of other things. Time drift, there is a lot of issues with time drift on hypervisors in general, all of them. This is complex to exploit, but that can temper your cryptographic. So this is complex stuff. Another is the CPE again, and the industry start to look at it, but we don't see it really implemented, and we don't see easy-to-use solutions. And if you look at this, and what we focus on here, there is nothing Fortinet provides as a product. It's not something we want to sell you. It's something we need. Something we need to be isolated to be able to deliver the security to the end customers. Because if we have to look at our back, the problem will be much more complex, and the whole solution will be much more expensive. So one thing is to ensure that when you push an update to a CPE where people have physical access, that's the actual software you want that runs there. So there is solutions, there is attestation, etc., but it complexifies quite a bit the operation. So many people just don't go for it now. It's all the software you have there is managed by you, so you think it's okay. It's a dangerous bet in the long run. I will go on the rest for that. Globally, and thanks to Intel for the slides, because Intel have a lot of the protections here, but you can see all the yellow little boxes are where you can have security threats, and you should put your attentions for the security. Think of this as the reasoning for us is we want to provide security and protection. We want to provide you the technology to deliver the service to your end customers. But we have requirements, and the requirements on the infra are proper isolation. I'm not sharing the RAM with random other VMs. Or if I do, I have to know it, and I have to know where they are, and be sure they're not going to attack me. I can ensure that the software that is actually my software, not tampered, not modified software running on the machines. But if you think of CPEs, it can, or MEC, it can be very remote on places where you may not have the insurance that nobody tampered with the hardware, and nobody tampered with the disk and what's up there, or the logs. So there is solutions. That's also the good news of that. There is solutions to do it right, to not enabling the shared mem on OpenStack, for example, to have attestation, secure boots, security monitoring, and then, if you go to the other side here, we'll go into the Mano, and then the discussion will get even more complex. Why? Because today, in the way people look at Mano and look at the orchestration of all those things, you usually end up with the mindset, the thinking of having one big Mano managing everything. If you put all your eggs in the same basket, if someone breaks in, get your full network. If you have that mindset. So you really have to be careful on those things. And usually, Manos and orchestrations, they have the key to change the configuration, to open ports, to change security rules to the VNFs. They have access, because they have to. They have to be able to manage all that. So a very strong thinking on where you put those keys, how do you protect them, is very important. The standards works on those things. The ETSI NFV security groups issues specification, issue 1 on attestation a while ago. and we're working on more of specification around those things, on protecting the API calls, on protecting the credentials and all that. But all those things are very important if you move to production to go there. And if you wait too late at the end of the cycles, it becomes extremely complex to put all that together in a usable, orchestrable manner globally. But it's important. It's super important for us to be able to confidently deliver security as a service, that our technology is being used in an environment that is safe for ourselves, so we can protect the rest. Again, take the physical analogy. None of you service providers will allow me to take my firewall, get in your data center, plug it in your network, and do whatever I want. So this translates to the VNF world and the NFV world. Instead of having physical checks, certification and all that, it's done by software, done by TPM attestations, root of trust, and cryptographic modules. But all those things you were doing in the physical world to allow a box to be in your network, to know it, to know the serial number, to have the guards letting you get in the data centers, being allowed to connect, having the admin credentials and all that process needs to translate in automation and NFV world and orchestration. It's even more important when you move to 5G, and especially the slicing. Because then your isolation between VMs is not only between two VMs on the side of one little box. It's going all the way through the core of your network. That isolation you get on the first slides between two VMs, if you do a slice, you are going to run someone else's code on a VM all the way through your network. So you all assume that is not going to be able to evade on the side of the hypervisors or connect to the next VMs next to it and go to the management network. You know what hackers loves? Your assumptions. So in security, you don't assume, you verify. And this is why Fortinet is, and I'm the chair of the Security as a Service group at MEF, is to help the industry move forward in the right direction for those, take into account the security requirements, standardize on them, and put that in certifications, in process that are good enough for running. So some of the stuff are not, in security, are not technical. A lot, you have, security is a mix of the right technology, the right tools, and the process. You can take my firewall, which is good for the Department of Defense, banks, and all that. Great technology, can be done, can do wonderful things. If you put admin and you open it on the internet, you're done. It's worth nothing. So it's the same idea. If you deploy super complex, very good technology, but you don't take care of the credentials, or you keep your root of trust or your private keys moving around a Docker image in somewhere else, in somewhere with random people having access, they get the private key, they get access to your network. So it's a whole process, but with the stack, with the NFV stack in mind, you start to have a lot of points where you have access and where you may be able to enter, and you have to integrate different people, different technology, different layers. So we want to help the industry creating certifications, creating boundaries from the standards to allow and to smooth the discussion about security issues, isolations, non-tamper software delivered. because this is key for us to be able to be used for delivering security as a service. Then we have many more other stuff, but I'm basically done with those things. So if you have, I don't know if we can take questions. I don't know if someone have a mic or not. Okay. Yes, I will repeat the question.
What do you propose to solve the problem with the slicing that you identified?
The question is, what do we propose for solving the issue with the slicing? So, first of all, you can isolate. You can isolate. You can easily not isolate, but you can isolate. So the combination of attestation, not sharing memory, ensuring you put the things in different, you configure your NFVI right, you can ensure isolation. But today, there is no simple way for NFVI to express to me as a VNF what kind of isolation I am offered. And that is important to me, because if you have a security audit, the auditor will not stop at the VM. It will check where your VM is, and is it in a safe environment, a trustable environment. If you may think public clouds, they have the same problem. They have the same problem. On public clouds, you can ask a dedicated hardware. So when you do serious security, banks and others, they do not share VMs on the public clouds.
Do you foresee a way to signal this requirement for security across the layers down to the VIM?
Yes.
How?
Math.
Math?
That's what we want to do with the Security as a Service project at MEF. It will work or not, I don't know. But if we don't have a standard for that, if we don't have a way to express those things in a standard way, then it will be a very specific integration project every single time, and nobody wins. It will just spend our days and nights on something that it brings no value, because we have to redo it all the time. And in security realm, it's important to also be able to recheck, because it's not because it has been certified 10 years ago that it's still valid and still okay. So we need to be able to verify that what we expect is still there, and a way to express it.
Okay, thank you. Or maybe ask one more thing. This time shift, what was it?
That one is a complex thing. It has been presented at the ETSI Security Week 2017 by a combination of NCSC and Michael Lazar, and there is a full paper on the ETSI website. I can share the link, where they explain what you can do with the time shifting. But just think of the logs. By creating a workload, you overload one VM on an hypervisor, you will have some time shift. So the logs of the other VMs will drift. Not by much at the beginning, but can be a lot. So you have an indirect way to temper the logs of the neighbor VMs.
Hi, thanks for the good presentation regarding security. I think it's been overlooked sometimes by the speed of adoption of NFV and stuff. My question is regarding the organizational matters here. So what do you think from your perspective is the right way to organize this security matters to the NFV? Should it be part of the cloud infrastructure builders, or should it be relayed to security teams who are already expert in this domain and they have the expertise from the networking background, and should they take this lead, and won't this cause little delay in deployment, and maybe they'll cause lots of troubles inside the... What do you think is the best way to orchestrate this?
Dialogue. The best is dialogue. If you have only if you create a group of security experts, you will in no time get the most advanced threats that only are worth of banks and super government agencies and all that, and none of the guys who know orchestration and connectivity will understand. So the very first basic steps of security is hygiene. It's doing the right thing. It's not admin. It's not sharing the RAM. It's nothing. It's just one parameter in the way you deploy OpenStack. But the default is sharing. So yeah, it's when you start to draw your architecture, do you assume the VMs are isolated, or did you check? Let's start with this. And of course, you will need the experts to verify it's isolated for real. It has been audited. But just having the questions from people doing the orchestration and the rest is important. The NFV, thanks, I see Diego over there, created a security group for that, to have the security experts help have the dialogue with the other groups to tell them, okay, so you want to do APIs with tokens and all that. Is it the right, or how can we temper that? How can we attack this? What is the threat model? How do we protect? Same with attestation is coming from an NFV spec. But then you have to put all that together to be secure. And you have to put the ordering, you have to put the configuration, etc. This is where I see MEF more involved. Because if you want to do that cross operators, and you don't have a standard way to express what you exchange. Because think of delivering security as a service to your customers in your country. A lot of the ones who will buy it have multinational presence. They will want the same security service on the other side of the planet where you don't have presence. This is where MEF is involved, to allow you to deliver the same service. So we focus first on the infrastructure on the NAVI. Can I run the VM I already run for my customers on someone else's premise in a secure way that I can audit, that I can, if I get an auditor, a security auditor, not someone else, I can confidently show him where I'm good, where I don't know, where I'm, all that. The security focus on the solution. Makes sense?
Thank you very much indeed, Nicolas, for a very good presentation. Thank you very much.